Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Eliott wave update for Stellar. Now I'm going to get into the micro time frames and show you what I'm counting along with, but real quick out on the daily, a recap. We have considered the fact that we have a multi-year triangle that completed last week for our E-wave, and we're now starting a new trend to the upside to all-time highs. Now there's a lot of work that needs to be done to get there, but as of right now we want to hold above 7.65 cents, and invalidation of this triangle is at the C wave at 7.02 cents. So as long as we hold this level at 7.65 cents, it stays in play that this was a triangle. As you can see, we're likely at the beginning of the trend, so good trading opportunities and risk rewards at this area. Now just following up on last video, I suggested a hedge, I believe, which is where you go short the same amount as you're long, as we got in at these lower levels up in this area. Because of this fast sell-off, we are looking for this to turn into some sort of triangle or a flat before we get our fifth wave. And I suggested if we come any lower, the wave is probably complete, and I gave you an alternate count. So it's pretty clear this is pretty much complete at this point. Very low probability that we make a move here as a fifth wave. Now the way I would relabel this, and I have the alternate here I gave last time, and that is that our third wave is actually over here. We got our fourth and our fifth in blue. I'll show you that in a moment. Now we were expecting this move because we didn't come to the one-to-one of wave 1 off of wave 4, if this was the fact, for our fifth wave at 11.99 cents. But we did reach the 618 extension of wave 1. You can see right to the tick there. So that's how I would relabel this. And I have this right here. Completely reasonable count. We just only came to the 618 extension of wave 1 off of wave 2. All 5 waves are there. Extension within the third of the third, as you can see. Very short fourth wave compared to the wave 2, but that is the way you must count it as complete. So there is a lot of reasons we were considering that move. The speed of wave 2, we're looking for alternation. Didn't get that clearly, but that's where guidelines are more helpful tools than rules, unfortunately. If they were rules, that would be much easier to trade. But as of right now, looking for this wave 2. I believe last time I said if this top is in, we're looking for like an ABC here. Clearly just dragging sideways, very indicative of a triangle. So I have 2 counts currently. One is that we're in a triangle that just finished. The way that looks, I was a little bit weary about this because it looked like 5 waves, but wave A in a triangle can be a flat. So the way I would put this is an A is a flat, A, B, C, D, and our E. Our D leg is the most complex. It's either C or D. You can see we have a multi-correction there, and we potentially have our E wave complete, and we're looking to make a fast 5 waves down to the one-to-one at 0.918 cents. That would be where A wave equals the C wave if labeled correctly as a triangle. Nothing says it has to. Now, the alternate is that this is some sort of ending diagonal or still in the middle of a B wave. I'll show you that as well. So just to be clear, after this, if we get something like this, we're looking for the trend continuation in a third wave, and this is a larger one too. But there's many ways to day trade this. If you're just buying for the long term, this is not financial advice. This is just what I would do. If you're just looking to buy for the long term, if I was just looking to that, I risk 1% per trade. I would take the price of the 50, which is at 9.28 cents. I would divide that into 3 equal pieces, totaling 1% risk of my trading account. So I'd have 1/3 of 1% at the 382, 1/3 at the 50, 1/3 at the 618. I used the 50% price because it evens out to a 50% price. So my risk would be 1%, where if I'm stopped out, it's at this E wave low. So that trade would look average price of 50 if all three levels get filled. Something like this, going for all-time highs. It's probably a pretty crazy risk reward. So if you don't want to have to follow along all this garbage of a correction, I just put my buy levels there. And if we only get like a 382 and we start coming up, it's fine as well. I would adjust by buying the breakout and add to my position size that way. There's lots of ways to add to your position size on the way up. So you come down here, you see a nice clean 5-wave move, you can add it in this area. Lots of ways to do it. It just all depends on your trading style and strategy you want to use. So this is scenario 1. Scenario 2 is we had an A wave. We have a WXY for a B wave. This is a running flat where we make a lower B wave and our C wave does not go beyond our A wave. In this scenario, I'm looking for 3-wave patterns and the 1-to-1 is at 9.52 cents. We'll have to see how this pans out. But it doesn't look the greatest either. I like the triangle better than the ending diagonal. Last option, this is why these areas are difficult and I suggest kind of staying out of them unless you get a good unless you get a really good risk reward, is if we take this as an A wave. Come on. Get our B zone. You can see we're still there. This technically can be still a very complex W, X, Y, or ABC, where we get one more move up. This is all a connector in a WXY or ABC. Then we get our connecting leg after this completion, which would probably line up better with the BTC correction panning out. But you can see there's lots of things that can happen in these areas. This is why I'm avoiding this area. I'm interested in buying or adding to my position at these levels, or waiting for some clarity, because if this is a flat as well, you can also see that we can be technically in the middle of a diagonal here, where this is an AB. We're just almost completing here. So lots of areas that can be affected. If that's the case and we get an ABC here, I would probably keep track of the 1-to-1 in that scenario as well, which is at 9.63 cents. You can see it's better just to buy for the long term, stop at this low. You don't have to think about all this unless you're scalping. That's the only time I'm interested in trading in these areas. And I have to get a pretty nice setup to scalp this area. This does not look the greatest. The only good scalp, and I put it low probability, is the fact that this is a triangle. And the way that works is you sell below the D wave, stop at the, you'd sell below the D wave, which is right where we are, stop at the C, trigger yourself in and target that 1-to-1. But even that's not the greatest, right? There's too many things that can be happening here. I'm not confident that's a triangle. But anyways, once we get our 3-wave move complete, whatever it ends up being, I'd look for the 382 area first. This can be a 3-wave move as an ABC completed the structure, or we get an extension where we get a WXY. Maybe come down to the 50 or the 618. So a 333. We can even, depending how impulsive it becomes, get a 3-wave move up after we get that move, break the high, and get a ABC or WXY as a flat before we get moving. So you can see why this area is very difficult. Things to pay attention to is the 618s on the larger correction. So wherever this ends, throw on the 618 because that's a probability shift. So I'd keep dragging this, and once we get a move above, I want to count how many waves are in that move. Take a look at volume as well. See if we got a lot of volume coming up. And if we have a clean 5-wave move, say it comes down to here, as that diagonal, we'll say. So we get a clean 5-wave move, and we broke above this 4th. We got a clean 5-wave move like that, and we're correcting sideways. We broke the 618 of the move to the downside. That's also where I would consider adding. So just pay attention to the wave counts and adjust as we go. I hope this video wasn't too complicating. I'm just trying to educate people at the same time. But the safest thing, if you're in this for the long run, not financial advice, just what I would do, is that 382 for now on, the 50 and the 618. 1/3 at each, 1% total risk. Don't want to see us come past the 786. And we'll just let it play out. All right, guys, that's it for Stellar. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.